Blowing things up is fun and oftentimes it's a great way to deal with a problem in a game. Feeling like you're an unstoppable force that your enemies fear, the developer makes sure that you often feel like you're a god and you can get through anything. But sometimes this can leave a game often feeling boring if they go a little bit too overboard. So join me while we discuss when there's maybe sometimes where there's a little bit too much chaos. We all know that feeling when we're playing a game, you just want to get away from the seriousness of it all, and you just want to have a little bit of fun. Whether that would be running around in Grand Theft Auto, spawning a tank and letting it go wild, or turn on a god mode in the settings and just kill every single enemy that caused you hell in the past. These moments are a natural part of appreciating and enjoying what developers have made for us. Being able to have a choice between something fairly serious and then a chaotic playground really shows us exactly what the limits of their universe that they've made. But too often there seems to be an example where devs create an experience that's too chaotic that almost misses the point of it being chaotic in the first place. And this is when players begin to feel a little bit restricted even though everything comes across a little bit crazy. I believe that handling craziness and chaos needs to be treated like a reward for it to be truly effective. I want to talk about a handful of different versions of this and how it can be handled differently. But first, we need to understand how this works and why we often want things to be, well, a little bit chaotic sometimes. IKEA. Yes, IKEA has a rating system that often asks you how your experience was and even if you enjoyed being there. For me, I wouldn't even bother looking at these or even touching it because who knows what else has touched these, but unless I've had the meatballs then yes, immediately green face, green face, green face, thank you very much. And this rating system is a very good example of how our emotions can affect our day and feelings towards people. If we had to test our moods from 10 being over the moon and 1 being very depressed, most people will constantly be at the 7 mark. It's that perfect in between of I'm not in a bad mood but I'm not exactly overly happy either. It's just that great in between of not feeling terrible but not feeling great. Congratulations, you get a pay rise. That's a 10. Sorry, we have to split it up. That's a 2. Hey, here's a cake. Immediate 8. Oh sorry, that's my cake. Immediate 4. Just like a pay rise or a relationship ending, it's all going to begin with a 10 or a 1, but it ain't going to last forever, and our brains are always mentally programmed for it to dull back down to a 7 and for that new pay rate or that new single life to become the new normal. This is literally our brain's coping mechanism and it actually affects us with everything we do. And it's all down to a chemical in our brain called dopamine. But in short, that's just the feel-good chemical, and this makes us feel good. It will actively be going through our bodies with everything we do, from what we eat and how much activity and even workout we get during the day. This is always being pumped through our body and affecting our emotions and happiness levels. But a little bit more on that later. So when a game like Saints Row 1 first pimp slapped itself into people's lives, it came across as a humble gang-filled game, nothing more than a bouncy GTA, with a little bit more freedom and focus on, well, the explosions and what you're able to interact with within the world. Fully customizable characters made it feel like the right amount of fun to make your character just stand out and look completely wild. The most wackiness you'll probably get out of this game is realising you can buy a rocket launcher, dress up like a cowboy and blow a train off a bridge, but it's something like this which was a little bit more wackier than GTA ever even came across. It took that more serious, light-hearted side and let people go a little bit more wild. This caught people's attention, and most importantly, it caught Volition's attention, and they really embraced that wacky craziness within its sequel. People, including myself, would even tell you that Saints Row 2 is probably the best out of the series. They outdid themselves in every single form. You're able to customize your character no matter their gender and make them look completely wacky and make them wear ridiculous outfits. There's silly walks and even ridiculous voices, but with a plot that felt connected to the first one's roots. The cast of characters here felt like they really fit inside this world. Johnny Gap, for example, is a serious character in this game and has a serious character development. It's actually quite heartbreaking to see what he has to go through, and even your main character as well sees best friends be tortured and killed and have to put them out of their own misery. It kept with that wacky sense of humour, but at the same time had great story beats and emotional moments which made you still feel connected. They could only have gotten better with the third game. Well, within the first few minutes you rob a bank dressed as yourselves, you see a Japanese drink advert, you get kidnapped, fly out of a plane, fall out of the plane, fall through the sky, realise you haven't got a parachute, fall back into the plane, kill people on the way out, get a parachute and land. And this is within the first few minutes. They went full 75% crazy with everything your character comes across. It feels like more of a Saturday morning cartoon rather than, well, your character being human. But this game was the right amount of fun. It was actually a fantastic balance of getting bigger and badder by the second. As you proceeded in the game, there was many situations that actually changed up the gameplay and even the city, including zombies. But then Violations seemed to have lost sight of what made Saints Row important. In Saints Row 4's beginning, you become the President of the United States, stop a nuke, cure world hunger and cancer, get abducted by aliens, and then become a superhero within the first 30 minutes. This game was flying at the 10 scale at all times. Very much like getting a fantastic piece of cake every single day, you're not always going to be flying at that 10. And Saints Row 4 hoped that the craziness and the 10 scale with every single moment would feel just as funny or even as impactful as the last. But the biggest issue, as I said earlier, is eventually that 10 dulls back down to a 7, and then we just don't expect any less. But I'm not saying this hasn't been perfected in the past. There are so many games out there like Sunset Overdrive, for example, where its chaotic style is for its advantage. It's literally the use of momentum and movement to make this game feel like an easy pickup. It's easy to learn but quite tough to master. But once you put in that time and master the ability to keep the momentum going, you're easily blowing away hordes of OD. But also games like Hitman or even Split Second. Split Second shows the importance of patience and payoff. Just like its name implies, it's a fast-paced racing game developed by Disney and is actually underrated to hell. This game isn't no Burnout clone, but instead it asks for the player to take full control of the destruction of the map and how to defeat anyone who gets in your way to get to first place. You actually have a gauge at the bottom of your screen, and more stunts or even close calls or even just all-round good driving you do, it rewards you with points, and then these points you can use to destroy the map and kill anyone who may be in the way. As much as you could easily be greedy and use it at every small point just to get in front for a few seconds, it always pays off a little bit more just to wait a little bit longer. As the gauge fills up, you see that it eventually goes to red, and as soon as it gets into this red zone, it allows you to change the map entirely, with the most spectacular explosions seen in a racing game. And you are rewarded with your patience, not only taking out the competition, but also triggering with such an impactful change in the map that it changes up the whole entire gameplay. Hitman and even other stealth games have versions of this as well, games like Dishonored or even Splinter Cell. Timing and holding back and waiting for the fireworks sometimes is the best policy. Learning the map and even earning upgrades is the best way to master every single route. But because of your patience and how much work you put into mastering the game, you're now rewarded to be able to pull off brutal kills and even over-the-top cinematic moments. And when your hard work pays off, it feels fantastic. And that's why we keep coming back to these types of games and even remembering these key moments. Sometimes it doesn't have to end with death and epic explosions. Sometimes it could just be a pure reaction from the dopamine that's going through our minds. The Untitled Goose Game has a simple to-do list, and this gives you an objective that you work towards and get done. Completing something mundane and just realising that that same chemical that you get from causing massive explosions flows through your body gives you that feeling of excitement. It's that same feeling when our pure curiosity feels rewarded. The 1 to 10 scale can be an easy 9 with just a sweet payoff. VR, particularly as such a new medium, can generate this excitement with such little ease. It's being able to pick up something or do something in VR which will always make you say the same reaction saying, "I didn't think that would work." To play through a full game and be rewarded with something special makes it feel like players really didn't waste their time. It's maybe why in most Resident Evil games and even Silent Hill you're famously given the most ridiculous tension breaking weapons. It's to be able to go back and cause hell and chaos because of the hard work and stress that you once went through. And because of that excitement and fun is always at a constant 10 because you know that you're always on top of it and you know exactly what it felt like to be back down by 2 or 3. But maybe some people don't want to wait and play for a whole game to feel this power, and that's where the importance of progression can come in to make your character feel more godlike as you play. Collecting an orb in Crackdown and seeing your character become a beast over time is both visually exciting and also in the gameplay department changes it completely, and this is why fans really love that series. It's down to the player to work towards that feeling of ultimate power and strength. You must climb the highest building, use different weapons, find ridiculous ways to kill enemies, and in return you get points and a visual upgrade, and that's just because of your hard work. Sometimes a game like Hitman giving players a new way to enter a map or a new weapon to kill someone is an effective way to keep the player coming back. Know that you can spend time learning and mastering levels and being able to come back and cause more destruction than ever before is a fantastic payoff. And it's when you see games like Dead Rising 4 or Saints Row 4 or even Volition's Saints Row spin-off Agents of Mayhem which completely miss the point. In Dead Rising it's going back and seeing that lack of difficulty in any form of the gameplay, so there's nothing there to master, and then all of a sudden being rewarded with a giant mech suit that doesn't even feel half as rewarding as just the standard Mega Man blaster from the first game. And that's because the first game often feels like a grueling experience to get through, and it's that feeling of feeling like an unstoppable beast and coming back to the grueling experience which makes it feel ultra rewarding. If you enjoy these chaotic games then that's great, but I enjoy games with more of a payoff. I enjoy the games which really ask you to take that time to feel like you earned that explosion. It's like setting up the perfect trap in Just Cause and seeing the whole entire station go up in flames. It's enjoying and taking in every single explosion rather than the explosions becoming the new normal at every single turn. Feeling rewarded for our efforts is a response that our brain naturally loves. It doesn't just apply in gaming. It's that appreciation when you put out a video and the people who are viewing it share the video or even leave a like. It's leaving a comment in the video and telling the person how you inspired them or how they even like the way you edited a certain part of the video. It's making a difference towards your worlds and even your own lifestyle. Whether you're talking about losing weight or coming out to somebody or even embracing who you really want to be. And it's these changes and seeing the payoff throughout our lives which feel often rewarding. Trust me, there's nothing wrong with getting often good things, having an exciting lifestyle and forever feeling like you're going to be on that 10 scale, but eventually that 10 scale will always become that new 7. But to be able to say to yourself you earned that change or you earned that 10 because you put the hard work in, you took time to learn your craft, you took time to just decide to make a video. That is when the 10 comes around and feels very rewarding. That's when you really have deserved, well, your explosion. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a ton of fun recording this one. Of course I did. I was able to play games where I just blew stuff up, so I was entirely down for that. But I was also just enjoying the subject as well. Feeling like you're putting in hard work is a fun thing to talk about because it's something that a lot of people, even YouTubers, understand. You have to put in that effort and you see a great reception and payoff from people like you who enjoy and watch these videos. If you have enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the Saints Row series. Maybe you enjoy number 4 and that's totally fine. You can enjoy it. That's great. But overall, please have a fantastic day, and of course I'll see you at the next checkpoint. Bye bye.